Hello, we're back. How are you boys and girls doing? We are going. This is now special preview territory, which means that because you have chosen to spend your time with us, you are now special as well. We need to hold hands kind of symbolically here, because we are going to go and check out the Facebook version of Doctor Who Legacy, which is not released yet. It's completely in beta. I'll show you the title on the title screen that's there in a minute. They've even got.
Plus, you're going to say we're going to go where no man has gone before.
You can go there if you want. But this is properly like a. Kind of like preview stuff, and we're going to be checking out Perks, which is a brand new bit of gameplay which is going to be coming real soon. So take a deep breath. We're going to jump into the rabbit hole. See, there you go, another reference. We should see how many other TV shows and series we could reference by the end of this. So let me take you across.
So say we all.
Sorry.
So say we all.
That's Thundercats. Wow.
Oh, it wasn't Thundercats. It's Battlestar.
That's so Thundercats. So say we all by the Code of Thundera. That's Thundercats.
Okay, it's both.
So Thundercats. All right, okay. Taking you across to the almighty Addy desktop. Yes, my wallpaper is black. Oh, someone's purchased a message to appear on the screen. Congrats to the winners.
Star Trek Legacy ZR Zone. You should tell CBS that. We actually know all the Star Trek people well. We did some work on Star Trek before. So far, that hasn't come to fruition. We would love to do Star Trek Legacy.
Star Trek Legacy, that would be cool. Although technically there is, before you get too excited, there is actually already a game called Star Trek Legacy. So you couldn't.
Yes, actually, no, I know.
You have to call it Legacy of Star Trek or something really awkward like that. Okay, let me point out something here, because obviously I like pointing out things that make me giggle. This is so beta that the front page of this in Facebook actually says test title, and if you look carefully, you'll notice that the title, the T of title is capitalized, but the T of test is not. They capitalized the second word in the sentence. Now that's beta. That's how much of a preview this is. Random capitalization all over the place. But you can see, look at the borderline of my web browser. We are in Facebook. This is Facebook. This is not an iPad. This is not an Android. This is my PC desktop, and I have Doctor Who Legacy up and running. Which we talked.
By the way, can I interject to say, do you know what Pest, who hand draws every single character in the game right now? He's spending the next 2 weeks making a new background. The what's up on screen right now, that collage. We're doing a brand new one for the update.
Oh, cool! I actually noticed something the other day that I was going to point out, is that because on that bit of wallpaper, which I do think is very, very good, by the way, I love the way they're kind of standing in a triangle and all being all dramatic. You've of course got Tennant wearing a blue suit, but of course Tennant in the game, he wears brown. Just saying.
Yeah, they were all drawn separately. It was a completely original piece of art that had nothing to do with the characters from the game.
It's a good one. I like that costume, and I like the pose as well. You could just transplant him out of there and give it, and that there's a new costume. Ta-da!
Not a bad idea, actually.
Okay, so as you can see, this version of Doctor Who Legacy, I am controlling with my mouse. But Susan, if they do use this the idea, because it's on Facebook, people could play it almost on any device they have. Is that the idea?
I think so. I don't think iOS does not allow gaming within the browser. So I know that, at least last I remember, they didn't do that. I'm an Android person myself, but and I tried to launch it in my tablet browser and I couldn't. So I'm not quite sure why that is. So I'm still sort of looking into the logistics of how that works. I mean, it's meant for desktop, but theoretically, you should be able to do that.
So as you can see here, guys, I've come into the game. We're right at the beginning here. I'm going to buy some other kind of characters in a minute, just going to show you how it works. The game's completely here. The plot lines, we're right here at the beginning, going on the moon. I've only got the kind of 3 characters at the moment, but the difference, of course, is that you're playing with your mouse. Now, there are advantages and there are disadvantages of that. Obviously, putting something under your finger means that you've got that kind of very kind of smooth control, because you've got this, but of course the advantage of using the mouse is that your finger isn't in the way, and if, like me, you're a proper adipose and you've got big fat fingers, I often find myself kind of going, I can't see the screen because my finger's in the way. And this is, using a mouse is just so smooth here. And plus, depending on the size of your device, if you're using like an iPhone or if you're using a iPad Touch, putting on a desktop, I mean, I've now effectively got Doctor Who Legacy running in like 1080p on a 24-inch screen, so you can really properly fit it for your screen. And you don't mind people doing let's plays and things of the game, do you? I probably should have asked you that off screen, but you don't have an issue with people uploading things to YouTube with the game in it, do you? or do you?
No, not at all. Not at all.
So and obviously that probably makes it slightly easier to record. So for those of you that are like myself, are streamers or YouTubers, it's a lot easier to kind of capture a desktop, which you can kind of do on Facebook. So untold advantages await. So let's click away. What have I got? A blue character, yellow character, and a red character. Oh God, it's quite loud. It's quite loud. I need to turn that down.
I know I had the same experience as the first time it was in mobile when I walked away from my desktop and I came a boom sound of it launching in.
I think I'll shut off the sound for this because otherwise I'm going to deafen it. Everyone's going to be like, ow, 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 kind of listening to the stream. So Susan, tell us about your kind of impressions of the Facebook game so far. Are you pleased with how it's coming out?
I am. I was sort of expecting rough developer arty mess, and I don't know why I expected that because it's a port on Unity. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's coming along. I don't know what you think so far in terms of the manipulation of the gems. It doesn't feel at all awkward to me using a mouse, compared to your finger.
I've literally started playing it earlier. I was concerned that it was going to be harder to kind of quickly move it dexterously, if that makes sense. But I'm actually whizzing it around here absolutely fine.
I think some people might even prefer it, because one of the, when we were testing it before it launched, we were constantly playing with like where on the gem, it would pick up your finger, and how sometimes if you go on the side of your finger with the touchscreen, you lose the gem before you're ready to in all games. And so I kind of like the control you have with the mouse.
Yeah, it's definitely an alternative way of controlling it, and obviously the different people will like different things. I do think from I don't know, I'm only just started playing, but you obviously you guys will probably notice this, but wherever I click on the gem, I end up gripping the bottom of it. Is that right, Susan? Like you end up kind of picking up, you hold the gem at the bottom, and it might be interesting for people to give you some feedback on that about whether they want to grab the gem in the center or grab the gem.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, for
sure. Because it's not that picking up from the gem in itself is wrong, but it's because when you pick it up at the middle and it suddenly moves to the bottom, it can jar. But that then probably means it's easier to place. So interesting for you, especially when you got your beta testers, of course. Let's mention that again because it was been half an hour ago we mentioned that. If you're interested in being a beta test for Doctor Who Legacy on Facebook, you need to send Susan an email and tell her why you would make a great one. Tell her about how far you through the game, what other games you played, if you've done any other kind of beta testing. Susan, would you mind posting your email address
Just
again? There's the email address there, and the title you need to put in the email is
Facebook beta test.
Hey, and I just won a time fragment as well. Woohoo! We're in the money. We are in the money. So the one downside of the Facebook version, I don't know if it's a downside, but at the moment there's no plans, or it's not possible to make it cloud compatible, is it? Like you can't take your iPad, say, for example, to the Facebook version. Is that right?
Correct. I mean, I don't think that's ever going to be necessarily possible on iOS. Apple's just really, not particularly keen on that sort of thing, and we need Apple support, so I don't think that we necessarily want to cross that line. It's technically feasible; it's just politically not as feasible.
So to clarify, if you don't mind, so if I do a purchase for the Facebook version or the iPad version, that isn't going to be, it's one or the other. I need to choose which one I want to purchase for. Is that right? Or do you want to come back? So if I buy time crystals on the Facebook version, I'm not going to have those time crystals in the iPad version, and vice versa. So I need to choose which version I kind of want to really play properly. Correct.
We are looking at some point to add Google Cloud services to Facebook. So Android, theoretically, at some point you'll be able to sync between the two. Okay. Though keep in mind, we don't save the time crystals and fragments to the cloud because of the offline issue. So that's still going to be the case regardless. So it would never be a way to use crystals on both. It would be a way to sync your progress, of course, across.
So, guys, what are you thinking? Tell me your thoughts. I'll watch the chat for a few minutes. What do you think of the Facebook version? Are you excited for it? Do you think it looks good? Do you think it's playing good? Doesn't look like there's any lag here. Alfred says, "I must have these slippers in my life." I'm not sure what he's referring to there. But tell me your thoughts about the Facebook version. Is this something you see yourself playing, or are you going to stick with whatever version you had before? I mean, the thing I really like about the idea of it, leaving aside the crystals issue, is the fact that almost on any computer anywhere in the world now, it doesn't have to be an iPad, I can play Doctor Who Legacy. Or even, which is because in theory you can still play it on an iPad. You just need to load up Facebook, isn't it? if I'm understanding correctly.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. To Zadita's question, we do have our own in-house cloud solution, which we continue to work on, which we'd actually like to migrate everything over to, but we haven't done it yet. At some point in the future, that might be a possibility.
Fuklop says, I want to play. And obviously, Doctor Who Legacy on iPad Android is free to play. Download it, get started. It's not pay to win. You can get all the way to the end of the game without spending a penny. But obviously, if you do have a great time, please support the company by buying access to the fan area, or maybe more if you enjoy. Mudhut says, show us the perks. Yes, we're coming to the perks. Just give us a minute. I just want to do one thing, just one thing at a time. Whoa, boy. Tiny Dancer says, I like the look of the TARDIS doors. Yes, I noticed that the TARDIS doors look different. It's a different edge, isn't it? Because it's a slightly different it's a slightly different shaped screen.
I think that's why they've done it. Yeah, because I remember it was an early on sort of question / concern of how we were going to deal with the sort of dimensions of the screen compared to a tablet. So I think it was a very pretty cheat.
No,
that they did.
It's a pretty solution. I mean, you could even incorporate it into the gameplay slightly and have like the doors kind of close at the end of levels and then kind of reopen or something.
That's a cute idea. Actually, I rather like that. Yeah.
Now there's a few extra features here. Now, do you remember a few weeks ago, ladies and gentlemen, Susan Lee mentioned eyeballs, and I fell about laughing. Because they said when a character uses their power, they get their kind of eyes will appear on the screen, and that's I thought I saw it earlier, so that's in this version, isn't it?
It's whenever you use an ability, yeah. So if you trigger an ability like a.
So let's do it. So I'm going to use Jenny's ability here, guys, and I assume what you're going to see is obviously the ability will still take place. You'll still get a kind of cool sound effect, but you're also now going to see an additional kind of animation up on the screen. So let's have a look. Here we go. Boom! There we go. A cool little, I don't know if it's Street Fighter or whatever it is, but a little strip across the screen with Jenny's eyes. It reminded me quite a lot of Ace Attorney, for those of you who've ever played that series of game with the whole kind of, pointing at the objection and flying through space and things like that. But so that's, a cool little additional animations. I'll show you it again with the Doctor here. 200 damage to all enemies, so you should now see Matt's eyes flying up on the screen. There you go. You see that? It's very, very quick. It doesn't get in the way of the gameplay. It's not one of those kind of animations that you look at once and go, "Oh, that's really cool," and then the second time you go, "Yeah, it's quite long," and then the third one and you go, "Yeah, kind of bored." It's just a couple, just there for a split second, but enough to make you kind of go, "Yeah, a special ability." Maybe punch the sky or something like that. Are you pleased with how that one's come out, Susan?
I am very well. You know what? It's funny because they've been telling us about it, and I couldn't imagine what the hell they were talking about until I finally. Saw it in Facebook. I'm like, oh, that's what they mean by the closing up on the eyes.
Now, when you told me about it, I was thinking, some sort of horror movie with eyeballs rolling around the place, and I was like, this is a terrible idea. But no, that's great. That's great. You're being called a genius. Mo Shorty says, I'm excited for it to launch on Facebook. Tiny Dancer says, cool effect. Dr. Hood said, this is so Ace Attorney. Arthur Lee says, reminds me of Pokemon battles, which I think is what I mentioned ever. Geek Spasm says, this is the best thing ever. Susan and Lee, you guys are geniuses. Oh,
I'll pass that on to Lee.
Yeah. That's a good compliment.
That is a good compliment.
Psychiatrist says, can we have this in the mobile version too? I'm assuming all of these things are coming mobile eventually. This isn't a Facebook exclusive.
Absolutely. No. Oh, yeah. To be clear, this is stuff that's all coming in the mobile version. This is just, because the Facebook version is getting the same stuff. So the eyes, all that stuff you're seeing is all coming in, coming on your mobile version in 2 weeks.
Okay, so don't worry, those of you that are... Yeah, let's be very, very clear on that. For those of you that are still playing on iPad and Android, and myself included that, I'm an iPad player, you're going to get all of this cool stuff. You're going to get the perks. You're going to get Season 5. You're going to get the sorting system, which I'm going to show you in a minute, I think. So all of this is coming to you as well. It's simply that the beta is on Facebook. So that's the only reason why it is here first. Okay, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Oh, right, we were going to give away a river costume, so to speak. Should we do that now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me just take you back across